So, you've found yourself with a copy or maybe 3 of Blue Eyes White Destiny, but you're just not sure what cards you should be adding to this deck, what cards you should be trading for or buying at your locals to give this the upgrade that it deserves. Look no further than this video. So, today we're going to be looking at the cards that you should add to your Blue Eyes deck in order to give it an upgrade from the Blue Eyes White Destiny. Now, I would highly recommend before adding any of these that you first get multiple copies of this deck and combine them into one. And if you want to know how to do that, I've already done a video on 3 copies of this deck as well as how to play this deck and combos. Click the card above for access to those videos. Now, let's get straight into it. So, the first cards that you should consider adding to your Blue Eyes White Destiny structure deck is the new Primite engine. Specifically, 3 copies of Primite Lordly Load. Now, this card is fantastic and works really well for the Blue Eyes deck. This is a continuous spell that when activated, first of all, allows you to add a Primite card from your deck to your hand. So that's either going to be your Primite Dragon or your Primite Drill Beam, depending on whether or not you've already got Dragon. Lordly Load's second effect is that once per turn, you can declare a normal monster card name, special summon 1 declared normal monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard in defense position. So basically, this card allows you to once per turn special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which as we know is fantastic for this deck and is one of the things that this deck does anyway, but this will make it a lot more consistent and also adds your Primite Dragon for further extension with your Blue Eyes plays, allowing you to go into more Synchro monsters. Just keep in mind that this effect, if you summon your Blue Eyes with this effect, you cannot activate the effects of special summoned monsters on the field this turn, so I would suggest going into this as the last thing you do in the turn, just to wrap things up after you've already done your special summoned effects that you would normally do with your Blue Eyes plays or your extra deck plays. But usually we don't really activate the effect of our special summoned monsters the turn they're summoned anyway with this deck, so it doesn't matter too much. I would highly recommend also adding 3 copies of Primite Dragon Ether Barrel. As we know, this can be searched with Lordly Load, but it also has the effect to search Lordly Load itself. When this card is normal summoned, you can set 1 Primite spell or trap from your deck. So again, this will either set your Lordly Load if you haven't activated it already, or if you had, you go into your Primite Drill Beam. Primite Dragon's second effect is that you contribute this card to send a normal monster from your deck to the graveyard. So this will let you put a Blue Eyes in the graveyard, which is good for further extension with the deck, allowing you to then special summon the Blue Eyes from your graveyard with effects like that of your Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. This card also has the effect that during your standby phase, if you have a normal monster in your field or graveyard, you can add this card from the graveyard to the hand. So it recycles itself, allowing you to summon it again, go for Drill Beam, go for another Lordly Load, or just have it on the field for extending your plays. This card is also a level 4 Dragon monster, so you can use it to go into your Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon as well. Finally, for the Primite engine, you want to add 1 copy of Primite Drill Beam. This is just to search off of Lordly Load or your Primite Dragon, whichever you play second, and has a fantastic effect that works well with any deck, but especially your Blue Eyes card. So with this card, you can reveal 1 Primite card or 1 normal monster in your hand, except itself. Or if you have a normal monster or level 5 or higher Primite on the field, you can activate this effect without revealing the card. So if you have Blue Eyes on your field or in your hand, you can activate this effect. Target 1 face-up card on the field, negate its effects, and if you do, banish it. This effect is obviously fantastic. It's a quick play spell, so you can do it on your opponent's turn to negate their card effects and banish their cards, not even destroying them, just removing them from play, which is an absolutely fantastic effect. The only downside is you need a normal monster on the field, which of course is easy enough to do in a Blue Eyes deck. And much like Primite Dragon, this card also recycles itself during your main phase. If you control a Primite monster, you can set this card from your graveyard. Again, very easy to do, especially considering that Primite Dragon recycles himself anyway during the standby phase, allowing you to continually get this negate and banishing effect from Primite Drill Beam. So these 3 cards is the Primite engine, again, 3 Lordly Load, 3 Primite Dragon and 1 Drill Beam is all you need, and will heavily power up your Blue Eyes White Destiny deck, or just your Blue Eyes deck, and just allow you to further extend your plays and to go into more extra deck plays. Now, speaking of extra deck plays, you could also add Primite Dragon Nether Berzelius. This card is not entirely necessary. You'd also need a fusion spell to go into it, but it does just give us another option for cards to go into, and gives us another card that we can have on the field in order to activate Primite Drill Beam, as it is a Primite monster level 5 or higher, so it works for that too, and is just a further option if you want to add fusions into your deck. Speaking of extra deck plays, as you should know, the Blue Eyes deck allows you to very easily go into level 9 Synchro monsters, so it's beneficial to add a few more of them. I would highly recommend either Lightstorm Dragon or Vermilion Dragon mech. Lightstorm Dragon will allow you to destroy a bunch of your opponent's spell and trap cards when it's summoned, up to the number of normal monsters in your graveyard plus 1. So it always gets 1, and if you have Blue Eyes in your graveyard, 1 or 2, you get a couple extra more destructions. Whereas Vermilion Dragon mech is another level 9 that allows you to banish a tuner from your hand or graveyard. With this deck, you get a lot of tuners in the graveyard. I mean, this deck is constantly searching tuners, and then allows you to target one card on the field and destroy it. So this is one turn, any card destruction, as opposed to a multiple spell and trap destruction when it's summoned. Both of these cards are fantastic level 9s, and I would highly recommend adding them to your deck. Furthermore, for Synchro plays, I would recommend some level 7s. Especially if you're running the Primite engine, you can use any of your level 4s plus your level 3 tuner monster, being your Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, which does come with this deck, or any of the Ghost Girls if you choose to add them, to go into some very easy level 7 Synchros. I would recommend Black Rose Moonlight Dragon or Ancient Fairy Dragon. Both of these cards are good for the deck and do just their own thing and are really good level 7 Synchros. Of course, with a Blue Eyes deck, you're also able to very easily go into some high level monsters, which makes it easy to go into some level 12 Synchros. A lot of people are liking to run, first of all, the level 12 Crimson Dragon. This card is just really good at extending your plays, allowing you to go into more Dragon Synchro monsters that have the same level as a Synchro monster on your field. And people also like going into Stardust Cypher Divine Dragon. Not only does Stardust Cypher provide protection for your monsters, but it also allows you to negate your opponent's monster's effects once per turn, and then destroy one card on the field, making this an excellent level 12 option for you to go into. For further main deck plays, you might want to consider the Bystial strategy. Now, all the Bystial cards are really good for this deck, but particularly you'll want Bystial Magnamut. Bystials are all great as they are level 6 monsters that you can summon very easily, or in one case a level 8 monster that you can summon very easily, with their own effect by simply banishing a light or dark monster from either graveyard. Now, with a Blue Eyes deck, pretty much all of our monsters are light monsters, so you banish any of them from the graveyard to go into Bystial Magnamut. The bonus of Magnamut in particular is that when he's summoned during the end phase, you can add a dragon monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, so this just allows you to search into further plays for the next turn. Not only is Magnamut a great searcher for a Blue Eyes deck, but it is also a level 6 monster, allowing us to easily go into our level 7 plays, especially by using Magnamut and one of our level 1 tuners, which this deck comes with plenty, to go into any of your level 7 Synchros. Finally, no deck is complete without some good hand traps, and while this does come with fantastic hand traps in the form of Ash Blossom, Nibiru, and Effect Veiler, you may want to add in a few more depending on the meta and the decks that you come across. Some good options are Molchami Fuwalos, which is basically the TCG version of Max C. We've got Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, which can negate card effects that activate on the field. Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion, again another one of the Ghost Girls. This will allow us to negate card effects that move things out of the graveyard. The bonus of having the extra Ghost Girls is of course more level 3 Synchros for you to go into your Synchro plays. And finally, Droll and Lockbird is another good card to pair with Ash Blossom, allowing you to prevent your opponent from adding multiple cards from their deck to their hand during the turn. These cards are all great to either have in the main deck or at least in the side deck depending on what you're going up against at your locals. And while these cards are really good for going both first and second, the Blue Eyes deck is also very good at going both first and second. While the main strategies for this deck are for going first and going into a bunch of Synchro monsters that can negate your opponent's cards, the Blue Eyes deck is also very good at going second, as it is essentially initially a power, as it is first and foremost a power deck, providing you a bunch of powerful monsters to allow you to go into an OTK. And to help with this OTK, you're going to want a few going second cards, such as Lightning Storm, Raigeki, Harpy's Feather Duster. These are the best board wipes in the game, destroying your opponent's spell, traps, and monster cards, allowing you to clear the field before going for the attack with your Blue Eyes monsters. And of course, Triple Tactics Thrust, Triple Tactics Talent are both excellent cards for going second and sometimes even going first. These cards will allow you to do a whole bunch of different things to help you set up your field and go into an OTK. So that's all we really need to talk about when it comes to upgrading this deck. Again, highly recommend getting multiple copies first and foremost and then going for these cards. But the Primite engine especially is just fantastic for this deck. And of course, if you're going into that, you should also upgrade your extra deck with some of these cards mentioned here as well. That's all for today's video. I hope you all found it helpful. If there are any other cards that you think I missed or should have included in the video, please let us know down in the comments to help myself and other duelists in the community. Thank you all so very much for watching. My name has been Senkara, and until next time, see ya.